Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome back to my channel, or at least to this show, an extensive collection of name tags and hairnets. Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed the journey so far, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I should have, angled everything before I got into it, but I was just so excited to do this episode. Not for any particular reason. I just wanted to do this episode so I can keep moving. So go ahead and like and subscribe so I can see my followership grow and motivate me to continue doing these videos. And then once I finish with these videos, figure out what I'm going to do next, probably something marketing related on this channel. So there is a plan for obsolescence with this series. So let's get into it. To be transparent, I'm trying to remember exactly when I worked here, and I'm thinking I'm pinpointing it here. And the reason why I'm pinpointing it, when I worked, I worked at ShopKo. It was a department store that was headquartered in Green Bay. It has since closed, I think since the beginning of the pandemic or right before. It was a department store I think was launched in the mid 50s. So when my mom, right before when her brothers and sisters were kids. So knowing the chain pretty much my entire life. And I worked there. So the reason why I can remember when I worked there is I wore this red fleece shirt, because red was part of their branding. And we all had to wear red shirts. And I had this, it was winter. And I think I had just gotten my first tattoo, which is on my lower back. And I'm not going to show it off. Family sees it, friends see it. But it's one of those that, like, I wish I wouldn't have gotten that one because I was, 20 when I did it. So yeah, that would have been like early 2001. I think I started there. It was right before the holidays started. And I think I was there just before spring happened. So I was only there maybe 4 months. But I remember it was definitely winter. There was definitely winter when I worked there. So I was working there. If you're doing the math, I was working there while I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So there would be times where, because Boys and Girls Club was a very, very set schedule, Monday through Friday, from these hours to these hours. I was usually done by 5. And sometimes, depending on my shift at ShopKo, I would go home. It was kind of far to go home, so I really didn't do it that often. Or a quick change at work and go to my shift. And this is while I was going to school. You're starting to see some things happen now. And so I'm thinking this is about the time, or it was 2000. No, it would have been 2001. Yes. I was working here right before I got kicked out of school. So it would have been right up to that. So I think my tattoo is before that. It's really hard to determine. So I'm going to stop rambling and just talk about the job. So it's a department store. What is ShopKo? I've linked below some wonderful, helpful tips. One in part from the Green Bay Press Gazette. They did a whole story on the history of ShopKo. And in addition, there is a channel called Company Man. I do recommend that channel if you're interested in learning about different companies and how they started, as opposed from a research point of view rather than a personal point of view of being an employee. So I would check out his channel. He did an episode on ShopKo, which was really cool when that popped up. Like, I used to work there. It's headquartered in Green Bay, or it was anyway. So it was kind of cool to see that. So if you want to learn more about the history of the company, check out that link below. So ShopKo, a department store. I think the closest I can describe it would be like a Target, not like a mega Target, just like one of the regular Targets before they went mega. It was about that size. It was, so in Green Bay there were, let's see, there was Kmart, which was kind of like at the bottom. When I was a kid, you went to Kmart anyway. And then there was Prangway, which was another department store headquartered in Green Bay. I think it was headquartered in Green Bay, Northeast Wisconsin, maybe Appleton. It was another department store, very similar. And then after that was ShopKo, or ShopKo Prangway was about the same. I like Prangway better. We didn't have a Target in Green Bay until 20 years ago. You had to go to Appleton if you wanted to go to Target. Walmart didn't come to Green Bay until the 90s. I think I was in high school. It wasn't open on Sundays when Sam Walton still owned it. So there were a number of department stores, and ShopKo was just a default. A lot of people went there because it was headquartered in Green Bay. So yeah, check out that episode. I do have one piece of history with it that's mentioned in the Green Bay Press Gazette article, and that is when they opened up the Easttown location. So there was a location on Main Street where there's a Pick and Save right there, or there right now, and next to a Planet Fitness. So that Planet Fitness, I'm hoping it's still there. That used to be ShopKo. That used to be not that particular building. They've torn it down since, but that right there, that's where ShopKo used to be. And attached to it was a grocery store. And then behind that was a movie theater. And that was torn down probably 15 years ago. That movie theater, my gosh, I saw E.T., one of the Star Warses, Back to the Future, Karate Kid. I saw all the movies there in the 80s, Dirty Dancing. So that, was eventually torn down. But where that ShopKo was, when they moved to the Easttown location, Cop's grocery store, which is now Pick and Save, they moved into where ShopKo had been. And they tore down that other grocery store. So that was just kind of open. So they opened the Easttown location, Easttown Mall location on my birthday, on my 10th birthday, July 9th, 1990. And when I learned that they were doing their grand opening on my birthday, again, my birthday is like right after 4th of July. So everybody's gone by then. So I don't get much. Just kidding. So I begged my mom for like 2 weeks, mom, please, can we go to ShopKo on my birthday? And she's like, why are you so insistent on going to this grand opening? It's your birthday. You don't want to go to Happy Joe's or something? Well, yes, obviously get that. But I wanted to go to ShopKo because I was hoping like the store manager would hear that it was my birthday during the grand opening, and he would like give me a tiara and free clothes for a year. Like, oh, what a coincidence. This little girl celebrated her birthday with our grand opening. That's so cool. What a coincidence. Yeah, that didn't happen. And my mom, of course, trying to be realistic, like they're not going to do anything. We're going to celebrate your birthday like we do as a family, but they're not going to care. And I'm like, she was right. She was absolutely right. So yeah, it was just so that's one of those things that like, oh, they opened up my birthday. It's funny. So I was a cashier. I don't really have any stories. In fact, I don't have stories about the actual job. I really don't remember a lot. I was just not just a cashier, but that was my role. I didn't do anything but cashier. So it was, standing for several hours or 8 hours at a time. I was, part-time. So maybe 15 hours a week. It wasn't much. I could always ask for more hours. I remember there was a break room. Like you had to walk through the store where the shoes were, the underwear, the women's underwear. And there was Payless, and you'd go up the stairs, and that was the break room. And I was going through a phase where I was eating canned soup, like the loaded potato one. I can't eat it anymore because of it. Yeah, I don't have any stories of customers being rude or anything. The only thing that does stick out was a woman. She had come in. It was like right before the holidays or during the holidays. And she came in and grabbed this bucket of pencils. I don't remember how many pencils were in there, close to 70. And she didn't know how many. She just grabbed them. She was a teacher. She wanted to share with her students. And so it was just one of those that like, she walked up with the big thing and she's like, I am so sorry. I don't know how many are in here. So just like, all right, tried to count them out and everything. They were all different. So they each had a different barcode. So I was trying to like, all right, of this, so many of this kind, scan them in. Some didn't have stickers. But she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, I work at the Boys and Girls Club. I understand. She's like, oh, okay. But like, that's the only one that sticks out. You get the typical, why won't you take this coupon? It's like, well, it's clearly expired, and people not understanding why you can't take an expired coupon. It's like, well, because there's a barcode on it. And if that barcode is set to be non-working, I can't accept it. I can't just override it unless I get a manager. I'm not going to get a manager for 2 cents. So when a coupon is expired, it's expired. That's just the way it is. When a sale ends, the sale ends. Wait for the next one. There will be a next one. So there were a few times where it's like you need to get a manager because the customer is being unruly. I can't imagine what things are like now. I mean, obviously I can because I see video, but I can believe what's happening with some places now, and it's really sad. So yeah, that was my job. I didn't do much. This is probably gonna be a shorter video because I really don't have any stories. I don't have any particular customers. I don't have anything that really stuck out. It was just more of, hey, I worked at a department store that it closed and no longer exists. So just from a historical perspective, it was kind of cool. I got an employee discount. Cannot tell you what it was because I don't remember. This was also a department store. It had pharmacy. It had an optical, electronics department, that kind of stuff. So, I think I got discounts on all that, but it was not applicable. But I remember one thing I did buy, and I saw it was on sale and I got my discount, and they were the last ones and I had to get them. It was a dinner plate set. There were 8 dinner plates and then 8 like salad bowls, and they were like big and clunky, and they were tie-dye, but they weren't like good tie-dye. It was just like the tie-dye design. Each plate was slightly different. So I'm like, I have to have these. And the plates were, I think, like a blue and purple tie-dye, and the bowls were like a red and yellow blue tie-dye. So they didn't really match. But I had to have them. I've been eyeing them for weeks. And I'm like, well, someday I'm gonna move out and I'm gonna need dishes. So I saved them, and yeah, sure enough, later on, like a few years later or a couple of years later, when I did move out, those were my plates and my bowls, and my friend, who I've previously called Richard. I've decided today I'm going to call her Garth. I have a different friend whom I'll probably call Richard later. But so the person who I've been calling Garth or Richard, she's Garth. So going forward, I'm going to call her Garth. We were roommates for a while, and she just got a kick out of those plates. We would make her little dinners and stuff. So yeah, I had an employee discount, which I took advantage. I want to say it was probably 20%. I don't know. So lessons. I don't really have any lessons. If you're a cashier, smile as you can. If you're a customer, be nice. It's more lessons for customers. Be nice. Okay. We're all people. We're all just trying to get through the day. There's no reason to be a jerk. If something's, expired, or if coupon's expired, I'm sorry. Call the manufacturer, call the company that issued the coupon. I don't know, but sorry. If the sale's over, the sale's over. You can't barter. These are people that are making minimum wage. They don't have the purse strings. You got to be calling the CEO. They're the ones that can make the changes. So the other lesson, I guess, really, greed doesn't pay. And the reason why I say this is, once you either read through the history or watch the Company Man episode on ShopKo, you'll see that, the last, say, 20 years of the company's existence, 25 years, it was bought and sold by, people that just didn't care. They just wanted to make a profit. So this particular story, it's always bugged me. I think it was right around the time that I worked there. I think, again, it's hard to, I should just ask my aunt, but my aunt's friend, I've known this woman my entire life. She worked at the Bay Park location, and she had been there as a cashier for 20 years. She was happy, she was content, maybe not happy, but she was content. Just being a cashier. She loves people. So talking to people was awesome. She had been offered opportunities to advance and be a manager. And she's like, no, that's not my job, man. I like to hang out with the people. I like to, just give me raises, when I deserve them, that kind of stuff. But, she never wanted to be a manager, and that's totally cool because she was really, 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 really good at what she did. She really liked customers. Customers loved her. And, so I remember I had heard that, or I'd learned that she was being brought down from full-time, which she had been for 20 years, to part-time because a new company had come in and their goal is to basically gut and sell. So they gutted the company by making all of the full-time employees part-time because that takes away health benefits. And then because she had been there for so long, she was one of the highest paid cashiers, obviously. And if you're trying to gut a company, you want to make sure people aren't paid at the highest rates. So what did they say? There was something like they fired her, and the excuse they used was, well, 10 years ago, you came back from break 2 minutes late. Mind you, she had been there like altogether well over 20 years. She had gotten customer compliments. Everybody loved her. But this particular company that owned it, they didn't care. They didn't care about the human aspect. They just wanted to gut and sell, and they sold. And then I think the company was sold a couple of times. So that was really, 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 that still pisses me off. And the reason why I say greed doesn't pay is that company's gone. But all those people made their money through the last 20 years, so they're fine, of course. But all the people that lost their job, they're not fine. So greed is just, greed isn't worth it. You know, if you are a business owner, yes, you own a business, but guess what? You are in charge of people's lives, their livelihood, I should say. So don't make things harder. If you make things harder, your employees are not going to respect you and they're not going to do as good of a job. So if you respect your employees as human beings, they're going to do the best job for you. You have to understand humans first if you're going to own a business. If you're in a business just to make money, you still need to be a human being, unless everything is completely automated. Then you can go be a jerk. So yeah, if you own a company, just remember people's livelihoods. You know, does selling a company for $2 million really, is it really worth it? For you, probably, but for everyone else. So yeah, I'm not a cashier. I can do it well, but I'm not happy about it. So I don't remember if I quit and had a job lined up specifically. I don't remember. No, we'll get to it in the next video, but I'm pretty sure I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a cashier. And I was bored. I think that's really what it is. Especially now that I'm in marketing, you can tell like I needed to have some kind of stimulation when I'm working and standing. Yes. If you work in retail in Wisconsin, you have to stand. That's just the way it is. So when I do see employers that allow their cashiers and bank tellers sit, I'm like, yay, good for you. That's a win. That's a win. You know, why should a person in office get to sit, but the cashier doesn't? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, so just even thinking about it, I'm rubbing my knee because it's making me like standing is making me think about that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about ShopKo. I really don't have anything more. This is a pretty benign episode. Sorry. Next episode is going to be different. We are going to be revisiting because again, we're going back in time for the next few roles where we're going forward in time and then we're going back in time because I've had multiple roles. So in my next video, we're going to be in the future from this time point in this episode, but still in the past from the end of Bay Beach and the end of the Boys and Girls Club. So the next video, I worked at a full-time job, my first full-time job after getting kicked out of college. So while I was still working at the Boys and Girls Club, so it was a call center for a sports catalog. So that'll be a fun episode. I have a few things to say about it. A few stories. That'll be an interesting one. So I apologize this wasn't as interesting, but I do appreciate you watching. If you're interested in marketing, like I've mentioned a few times, I do host a coffee talk series for AMA Puget Sound, of which I am the media past president. And I interview a different guest each week, and we talk about marketing stuff for about half an hour. We have We've actually covered topics outside of marketing, such as work-life balance, diversity, equity, inclusion, work from home. What else? Oh, we talked about the metaverse a couple weeks ago. That was pretty cool. How to be a freelancer. That's what we're talking about this week. So if you're interested in that, I have a link below. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else to tell you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey, be happy. I got an episode in, and it's not the last day of the month. It's the 15th, the Ides of March. I'll end with that. Happy Ides of March. Beware.